我们会发现什么秘密呢？
Hello everyone and welcome back to HGC China. My name is Kala and I am joined by Tetcher, and we are deep in a series between BTG and SPT. BTG up 2-0 in this series, and I cannot wait to get into this next one. Tetcher, what are your thoughts going into this? Do you know what map we're going to go to? Any ideas?
No idea. If SPT's choosing, I'd assume they take us to Praxis, because for the first time, they're in the situation, for probably the first time since I've started casting HGC China. SPT are in a position where they are on the back foot and might not go to an event, so they have to surprise their opponents. They can't just outskill them today.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. I think they have to pull out something where BTG exit the draft and they're like, what do we do against this? You know, they have to put their opponents into that sort of a position. We'll see if they satisfy that condition, but it's BOE.
Why did they let BTG pick the map, though?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they like first pick, but that's 2 times in a row that has not worked. So take the hint. Take the hint, SPT. But this is their last chance. BTG, if they win this, they will move on to play against the One tomorrow. And that will be the match to decide who goes to mid-season brawl, and then winner of that will play against CE to decide the seeding. But SPT, back against the ropes. Full reverse sweep is required. And they have first ban, removing Varian.
Does that tell us anything?
Yes, it probably means they want to go Genji, because for starters, it's a Melody C master hero, basically. And also, it's one of the few heroes who can really target down the Genji really punishingly. Diablo is one of the others, so we might actually see them prioritizing Diablo in their draft. It also means Tracer could be also another alternate option for Melody C, 2 of his best heroes.
Exactly. So SPT, they ban off the Varian, thinking that those are where they want to go with the draft. But now if you're BTG, do you do you get rid of Garrosh? Do you get rid of the Medivh? You know, all possibilities here. I think it's likely that Medivh gets banned because, you know, if you're BTG and you're up 2-0, the last thing you really want to enter into in this last game is a Medivh comp. So I think that would be wise for them to get rid of Medivh here as their ban, but they're spending their time. This is a very important ban, and they're hovering the Garrosh, thinking that that might be better over the Medivh. So now SPT, what's their first pick?
Let's find out. With the Garrosh removed, they have the option for Stukov, for Malfurion, for Medivh. Medivh has been left available. Or, well, maybe Medivh, they can only pick one, so I wouldn't mind them starting with Medivh, because that still can allow them to pick a Genji, or even a Tracer or something like that. It's a little bit risky, but it's possible.
Yep, and you can even go with a Greymane down the line, because this is, you know, a map for him, and the protects from the Medivh would be absolutely powerful, but SPT... You were saying yourself that they have to pull out something a little bit substandard, a little bit different, maybe something more powerful than we've seen them draft so far. Let's see how they end up opening this one up. Their first pick, they are spending their time on it, and as they should. It's going to be a very important first pick. Yeah.
So many. Like, Melody C's hero is going to be the deciding hero in this game. Whatever they decide to put him on will be it. That's for Molly. Those 2 have swapped roles. This is a Molly hero first pick. We're narrowing down the options right now. Now, once again, Medivh usually combined with Malf as a main support, as they really do cover for each other's weaknesses. Medivh blocking burst damage, Malfurion healing up damage over time. So that allows them to synergize really well together and really work with almost any assassin.
So BTG wanted SPT to pick Medivh, and why I say this is because they had the opportunity to ban either Garrosh or Medivh, and they chose the Garrosh. So they're basically saying, I dare you. What do BTG do as a response? Do they just immediately go with a Diablo and a Stukov on this map? Is that the sort of style that they use to play against this Medivh? What are their first 2 picks?
Diablo is almost a certainty, I would argue, just due to the fact that it's so good with Medivh, it's no way you can let that go.
Yeah.
So stealing that away, or you can't really ban it out because the SPT picked next. So yeah, stealing that away could be the play here, but no, Malfurion and Hanzo coming in. They're just saying, SPT, bring it. Throw it at us. If you want that Diablo, good. If you want to go for a support, you're going to have to go Stukov here. Malfurion would have been preferable when you're with a Medivh, but Stukov's still pretty beastly.
Yep. But now, like, that's very interesting. So there's two things to mention here. The fact that BTG just went with their style of draft, not counter picking. So we talked about the Diablo and Stukov being, high preference for BTG, but instead they go Hanzo because this is BOE. Huge map for Hanzo. Malfurion just because it's, probably their most preferred support out of Malfurion and the Stukov. Also, they would rather their opponents not have Malfurion, as you mentioned, with the combination of Medivh. So BTG just playing their own game, and that's what got them this far, so far in the series, and I love it.
It's interesting to see if it works out.
Yep.
As we see SPT, Diablo and something. I don't even think they need to pick Stukov, but they do, and there it is. Stukov and Diablo, exactly what we thought BTG would pick, but nope, these are the options for SPT. So they now have the option for either the Leyline APOC, if not, then just Portal Diablos and throw in those poly bombs. We have seen some lightning breaths in HGC China, and they have been pretty useless, but it is a heroic that can be picked up.
Tracer being hovered for BTG. I think that would be a very wise choice for certain.
Or Genji.
Yeah. One of the two.
Most scared of is my thoughts on it, because once again, that's the BTG hero, and as long as he gets one of those two carries, I think he's going to have a pretty decent time. The thing is, though, BTG can take Genji. They could have also taken Tracer, but Diablo would have punished it. So Genji's a little bit safer against Diablo because of deflect.
SPT, you have Diablo, you have Stukov and Medivh. What is your ban here? You're against the Hanzo and the Malfurion. I was gonna say probably a solo laner, but Alarak instead, the ban. Alarak can work very well against Medivh, kind of, forcing out that cooldown of the Force of Will there. And then, of course, if it's down, Alarak can find combinations very easily. But now BTG, they need their warrior, they need their offlaner, they need another, either range or melee flex. So a lot of things open to them at this point.
So in terms of tanks to begin with, when you're against a Medivh, you want something with consistent lockdown. You gotta hold someone still while that Force of Will gets together. So maybe an EGC, a Nubarak could actually be a pretty beastly play here. In terms of just controlling the fight, Cocoon onto any of these heroes could be pretty impactful.
Maiev and a Nubarak, just huge dive potential. I could see something like that working very well. The Muradin, ETC, also possibilities. But Malthael is the pickup. What's the warrior?
Support or tank? Support or tank? Oh, they have the support, so yeah. So
CTC.
Tank or are they hiding it? Yeah, high CC. Still good. Still scary.
Now this last pickup for BTG, I really feel like a Maiev could work well, but we'll see what they end up going with. SPT now. What are their damage dealers, aside from Medivh, of course, in this comp? What's it going to be?
So, I'm really feeling a Genji for this composition. With Tracer banned out, ETC being the tank on the other team, aka you can actually probably play around it pretty well. Genji, and then whatever you want your solo laner to be. So
Sonya?
Sonya would be pretty beastly if you want to get a little bit more damagey. Thrall, this is a great map for him. So yeah, I'm leaning with both of those.
And likely we will see those picks unless SPT have something hidden for us. Ladies and gentlemen, we will find out very soon. 13 seconds left for these last two picks for SPT.
I mean, they could Cho'Gall. This isn't the worst comp with it. There you go. That's my out there choice. It's not going to happen. You're against a Malthael. You're going to die.
Hey.
Falstad Genji.
Okay. Yeah, the Falstad for that damage dealer.
Ranging. I like it.
And Falstad can play against Malthael well. Yep. So I like that totally. BTG now, your last pickup. I was saying I think it's going to be the Maiev. And I still think it should be. It could be. What else could it be?
That's pretty good against Falstad.
Yeah, I just see this screams Maiev to me.
Maiev, or they're going to go for a second range, and it's going to be someone like Greymane. Those are my thoughts. Or someone with damage over time, perhaps. Maybe even a mage. You want to go super risky, bring out a Gul'dan. We've seen Lunara used by lesser teams to try and counter the Force of Will. I doubt that would be the case here, because it would be kind of risky.
Phoenix could be a pickup, but I just don't see it. I really do think it's Maiev here, but we will find out. Folks, we got 10 seconds left. BTG, they want to pick the perfect hero for this scenario. So who is it going to be?
It's the Thrall themselves. That can go in with the 4-man. It's pretty reasonable here. Stukov will be able to heal most of that, but the problem is it's very low cooldown, so Force of Will isn't going to be able to have too much of an effect against Thrall if he fully stacks that Crash Lightning.
Interesting comps. This is something I feel like this draft so far has played out much differently than both you or I could anticipate in this game number 3 here. But both of their styles of comps are just so different from each other. You know, you got the race damage of the Hanzo, you've got that the Thrall. Is it Crash Lightning? We'll find out. The solo lane matchup's going to be interesting. You know, you've got the Malthael against the Falstad. Malthael has to be cautious because there's the Genji on the other team. You know, if he steps up too far trying to trade into the Falstad, then you can get you know, the Swift Strike could come out of the bush and, you know, you could get into a lot of trouble. But, you know, I feel like a lot of this is going to play around that the Stukov, Medivh, and Diablo combination for SPT. And then on the other side, it's going to be how ETC peels, how Hanzo sets up, how the race comes through for BTG.
Well then, gonna be a pretty interesting match. Do you, for what would now be the 7th time in a row, love BTG's draft?
No, I actually like SPT's draft better in this game in particular. Yep, I think it's better.
The streak has been broken.
The big thing for BTG for me is the Hanzo. You know, Hanzo is invaluable on this map. The Never Outmatched is just so good. But in general, I think SPT's comp is... yes, it has a higher execution burden, but SPT is the kind of comp that can... or the kind of team that can actually make that sort of thing happen. So I'm with SPT here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. One game away from moving on to tomorrow's games. BTG on the left, 619 on ETC, LOK on Thrall, Druid on Malfurion, Dancing on Hanzo, and it's going to be Lai on the Malthael.
On the right in red is SPT. We got Molly on Medivh. We got Melody C on Genji. Misaka on that Diablo. Soap playing the Falstad, and ZZH on the Stukov.
Let's see if they can do it. It's going to be a Crash Lightning Thrall. Excellent. Let's see how well they can stack it up. And Portal Mastery, level 1 for Medivh. I keep raging when people don't pick this talent because I think it is just straight up the best by a huge margin.
Yeah, it definitely is. I absolutely agree. You know, 95% of the time it should be this choice as the Medivh. Sometimes you can get the value out of the additional speed and bird form on huge maps, but you know, when I see people go regen, I'm like, well, we should have a conversation, my friend. But here we go. First Medivh game of the evening, and I thought we weren't going to see him at all.
Yeah, I thought he'd be banned every game, but it
Genji
finally slipped through. Yes, this is a Melody C special. Every game he does this when he gets Medivh on, gets Genji on this map. Moves straight in, kills the fountain, and no one goes to stop him because they can't. He's too mobile. He just backs out and comes back in again. So far, every time I've seen him do this, he has died once.
Yeah, this is actually so annoying to play against if you're BTG, because now your tap is going to be bottom side or top side. You don't have that close one if your opponents chunk you out. So I love the fact that they did that with the Genji. It's actually the most annoying thing in the world to deal with.
Now we see Mercenaries being begun as roadworks started outside my house. I hope that's not being picked up on the mic. Falstad, interesting positioning if you look at the mini-map up there. Just hiding in like the little area below the lane. Still in range for XP, but trying not to be anywhere close to within range for Malthael to get a good angle on his E. BTG now.
It's Falstad.
They've done most of his camp. Soap flying in. Here's the interrupt. Nice silence, and that's actually going to be a kill. And the camp coming in for SPT.
Yeah, BTG just willing to fight into that area, silence, into the flight down there from Falstad. Very, very over-ambitious is BTG, but at the same time, they have Malthael onto the top siege camp, so when all's said and done, they might only be down a single kill, but now LK's got to be very cautious here. Nice roots to stop everything from coming further.
Yeah, the slow from ZZH was great, but the roots were even better from Druid. And as such, stays alive. One Khazra cleaned down very quickly by the scatter arrow there, managing to hit every single deflect onto it. As Falstad has returned to top lane, going to begin working down that Khazra camp of their own.
Picking up the single tower up there for BTG, so pretty equal game here so far, but BTG ahead in XP early. Level 4 is already coming through for them. And which is odd because the single kill goes over to SPT, so some missed soak there. Of course, when Falstad flew down, Malthael just pushed in the wave entirely and got a lot of value off of that.
Extra mana regen coming in fourth role. One is Frost Dwarf Resilience at level 4, so wants to be able to spam those abilities. Dust of Appearance for Medivh. Going for very scouting heavy here. Wise choice, I'd say, considering the blow-up potential that ETC can offer with the sheer amount of lockdown he has.
BTG positioning bottom side, clearing out this wave as fast as they can. But now Malthael, knowing that all members are off the board, has to be cautious. And we see him immediately backing up off the wave. He is mounted up there with that on the pale horse. So just being very careful. And now BTG rotating up. They've got the Sonic Arrow to scout. Misaka is found here on the Diablo. And just damage going over onto the Immortal. Even though it's a small amount, it's still worth mentioning.
Damage is damage. Gotta get down that core eventually, and the Immortal is a indirect way of doing so. Melody Z has moved on to the enemy Immortal, already working that down. He is very slow at this, but as long as his team can delay, he will certainly get the job done. Coming back up though, hovering around the area. Here comes Falstad as well. Looks like they might want to actually try and fight here, despite being a level down here. Oh well, they're no longer a level down, as they easily pick up that kill on ETC.
This is, to me, how ETC feels in the current meta. Like, right there, what we just saw was Diablo finding a combo onto ETC and not stunning him against anything. Flipping him over into a silence, and then he just immediately dies. And I feel like that's what happens often to ETC in this meta. Now, Misaka finding another pick onto Dancing, but he's able to jump over to the wall, not ending up going down here. Melody C has to be cautious because Genji's health pool getting quite low here.
Falstad finally on his own achieves the halfway point on the Immortal, thanks to the help of his team on the zoning. Now, SPT, defense or offense? Looks like offense, but he nearly gets caught in the stun. Misaka just being a one
BTG.
demon distraction here. Whoa, he goes deep alone. Portal's
Wow.
there, but the crowd controlled. Oh, Misaka gets out.
And there you have it. I was going to say, like, that looked very, very ambitious by SPT, but they end up picking up this first Immortal of the game, which it looked like BTG had the tools in order to secure that one. But Misaka, you know, playing the sneaky game there, picking it up for his team with just the right amount of stall.
Here comes the move in by SPT. The shield's already gone on the Immortal. They finally hit level 7, but they are still moving in, looking for their opportunity here. They're going to easily be able to get the front wall here, probably the second tower as well, but the fort is definitely going to survive. The Immortal is far too low, and the easy, clear potential that Hanzo offers has allowed them to protect themselves.
And we're going to see the dynamic of the objective change moving forward. Level 7's here. Never outmatched for Hanzo is here. SPT will not give BTG extended periods of race time any further because they will lose handedly. So what we just saw there won't happen again. But SPT, they won off of it, and excellently done by them. But here comes Misaka.
Every single time Misaka, a good face melt prevents the overpower though. Nicely done by 619. Portal has to be used to get Misaka out of there.
Yeah, very low is the health pool on Diablo, but
value.
Devils do, yeah, gaining a lot of value here. But now BTG able to step up onto this neutral objective, shall we call it, the Khazra camp bottom side, and picking that one up for their team. So excellent job by BTG just to kind of walk away from that engagement here, and then you know, find that damage. But no force of will up. Is Molly in trouble? There goes the portal, and he's away to safety.
Stack saved.
Yep.
Still survives, at least for the moment, able to grab Fountain and back into invulnerable bird form. Easily able to stay alive, at least for the moment. As we see the aggressive move in here with Diablo low, with Melody C also a little bit lower, Medivh having to stay in bird form while his healing goes through. This is an interesting move. Stukov though, saving the day. ZCH with that zoning side.
I mean, this is huge for BTG. Like, this is the neutral part of the game where there's nothing to fight for. They you know, or sorry, very little to fight for. They end up taking that bottom Khazra camp and then just completely winning in the trades against their opponents, pushing in and taking structures. So BTG with a huge play here. Soap
staying very long. Dodges the stun though. He's out of there. That's a nice little chunk of XP. Gonna give his team a big boost on their way to level 10, which is probably going to be available for at least partway through this Immortal fight, especially seeing as neither team is actually starting those Immortals for exactly this reason. They both want level 10.
Soap is very good at avoiding these ganks. You know, last game we saw on Infernal Shrines, there just some really impressive sidestepping by Malthael, and so far this game just you know smart sense of seeing that ETC coming in, getting the dodge there. So nice job by him for sure.
ETC holding his heroic finally goes for that mosh pit. This should immediately lock Medivh into a polybomb style of play. Fully interrupt. No, sticks to the ley line. Going with that combo. Dragon Arrow gets dodged by Soap. So good. There's the flip. Looking for the ETC here. Ley line. APOC too early. The Sundering as well, not getting too much value. LLK though, Dragon Blade still good though, picking up a kill, and Soap able to gust away everyone moving on to him, so he's able to stay alive. As Medivh though, getting targeted, protect the stacks. They back up, 1 kill for 0.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier that SPT do have the higher execution burden with their comp, and we saw a little bit of that burden playing into effect right there. You know, Leyline and APOC coming out at, I would say, the wrong times, but they had the right idea, and if that APOC came in right at the perfect time, that would have been huge. Molly getting, chunked out a little bit, but now Dancing is the target, the portal deep to try to get damage onto Hanzo, and SPT are trying to get this objective for themselves.
Misaka doesn't even take the portal, he just walks out of there because he's tanking through. Massive shoveled ETC, that's good because Mosh has still not been used yet. Again, the focus onto Stukov. In comes Melly into the backline, gets the kill thanks to Misaka. Now they're turning around into 619. They have to once again be careful of that Mosh to make sure it does not land, but they've managed to force the disengage once again, and this is much better for SPT. Slow and steady while protecting their own immortal, just kill after kill, but in a slow and methodical method.
Yeah. And SPT have multiple ways of getting onto the backline. So yes, there is obviously the deep portal that can come through and then they can access the backline. But then we saw there Melody C just immediately swift striking onto Druid, picking up the kill onto Malfurion, and just playing that one very smart as the Genji. So multiple ways for SPT to get onto that backline, and they're playing the pace of these fights, as you mentioned, very well.
Falset comes down to help Genji here. And SPT very comfortable, just leaving Diablo around for the defense. The Sonic Arrow does see that it's pretty much just Diablo, but it's too late. Camp is taken. XP value gain. They're even going to grab the minions in the bot lane. SPT gaining value, just sneaking it in wherever they can.
And when the Immortals are positioned like this, and you're the one with the global, you're perfectly fine having longer phases, because you can just push out your lane with the global, force a member of BTG to come to respond to that lane, and then just respond yourself to the Immortal and get advantage in the race or in the trade. So SPT playing this one very smart. Again, they understand how their comp works.
Good attempt again by 619, and this is what I talk about every time we Molly. Now we start to see him on the Medivh, their comp suddenly starts to work. This team that was struggling so much when they put Molly on a melee or on another ranged assassin, stick him on that Medivh, and suddenly it's looking really good. Tackle on a 619 here. Silence is good. See ya, 619. Dragon Arrow does land. Good amount of damage and a big stun, but too late.
Yeah, the ETC is having so much difficulties in this matchup. And it's only going to get worse. Diablo's pick potential gets continually better as the game progresses, especially against warriors. So ETC has to play so cautiously. I would like to see BTG just pulling the trigger. Right off of that, they got the 3-person Dragon Arrow, which was huge. But they need to get the Dragon Arrow. They need to get the Mosh Pit. They need to get a good Sundering in order to really turn this game on its head. But so far, SPT just playing the slow, methodical, and proper game for their composition.
Genji finds his brother, but he has already escaped.
No.
619 with the zoning, but yeah, this seems familiar. The ETC getting focused, and one-man mosh pit land, though. Molly's in super danger, though. Sundering lands. Protect the stacks! Protect the stacks! Down goes Medivh. I don't know if he had enough stacks. The Dragon Arrow Blade is good, but he gets locked down as well. And this is a disaster. Backfiring hugely. 3 kills for BTG as Misaka forced to retreat. Dancing begins the slow process of damaging a Diablo, but Diablo able to escape. But that was a disaster.
Yeah, very well played by BTG, and that's what I mean. Like 619, he just used the mosh pit, even though he got nothing. Look, so chunked out. Uses the mosh pit. It literally does like almost nothing there, but at least he had the right mentality to just pull the trigger. Molly caught really far up. LLK gets that kill here, gets some Frostwolf resilience to heal. Melody C looks really aggressive, but 619 didn't die off of that engagement. Ends up picking up the kill, and then Soap too far forward and ends up dying there too. Yes, SPT pick up the keep wall, but look at the experience, folks. Very close now. BTG feeling better about that engage, but SPT still very much ahead in this game when it comes to tempo and when it comes to structures.
And thinking. Master
Yeah, it's
Touch
done.
was complete. This is good. The Arcane Rift level 1 base talent. So we see them pulling back here. So this is good. This is good. Medivh was slightly less terrible to die. But he's alive again now. They're still pretty even on levels. Only a little bit. In fact, SPT still a little bit ahead even. Allowing them to have a little bit more control. They're hanging around the center of the map looking for the exact same strategy. Blow someone up with Diablo.
And what I like so far is that, I would be completely honest, I haven't seen BTG nor SPT really execute their comps teamfight properly. So with SPT, they want to get a Leyline APOC combo, and then the Dragon Blade comes off of that. And we haven't really seen that happen so far. BTG haven't found Mosh Pit plus Dragon Arrow combos or Sundering plus Mosh Pit, any of those big CC combinations. We haven't seen any of it come through. So it's going to be exciting once we do. And now Misaka looking for more damage onto 619. He has to play cautiously around this Diablo.
Yeah, Stukov wasn't here. Stukov is the go-to follow-up CC, so they're actually playing this a little bit safer. Diablo backing off for basically one of the first times this game. But it's enough, because now Falstad can go to top lane and soak XP for them, try and race them towards level 16, which is probably not going to be here in time for the objective, as there's only 15 seconds left before that spawns, but it might happen at least partway through, or in time for the push.
And this is defensive spawning on both sides for the objectives. So likely going to see another slower pace. Maybe both of these teams looking at picking up level 16 before really doing anything. But if BTG can step up their Hanzo, he can get a lot of damage in with that scatter arrow. But even stuff like that, where you just get the Reaper's Mark tagged, see, just like this, BTG will feel comfortable. And they're just stepping up, trying to get a little bit of this race advantage while Falstad is showing in the bottom lane.
Misaka moves forward once again, just being the full face front line. And that's good, because he knows if he meets the enemy front line, he can blow him up. This has been the strategy the entire time. Portal with Portal Mastery used, but already out of there. Genji trying to punish 619 while he was in the silence, but 619 unable to turn it round despite the lack of kill. Charge onto Malfurion, good target. Iceblock is used, Sundering, prevents Soap, the Apocalypse, managing to land on 2. There's the Dragon Blade, but Druid healing for it, finally down, but it says 1-for-1 trade. Melody, he might go down as well. Yes, he does. Leyline is used for the retreat here, so it's a 2-for-1 company in favor of BTG as they force their way forward. Diablo has returned. He had 100 souls. ZZH is the target. Force of Will, lovely gust, but LLK not able to finish off the kill.
And there's no support for BTG, and 16's here for SPT. Here comes Diablo looking for more. Does he get the portal to try to find a pick? Not quite yet. Stukov on the backside, going to be there for the silence, but no, Misaka not able to find the geometry there. And SPT immediately onto the race here. Still 4 seconds away for that Malfurion, and BTG are they're pretty comfortable just walking away from this one, getting a little bit of the trade damage. They're okay, you know, sacrificing some of this. They don't want to get picked. That's the big thing here.
Malf and Genji are back. Diablo with no souls,
Portal?
ain't very tanky. Portal does too much. The Immortal trolling Diablo there as he goes down. Full retreat by SPT. They are now in danger. So with a good roll. Nice Immortal stun. If they can kill 619 here, that would be huge, but they can't do it. And we're starting to see that lightning control doing so much damage. Dragon Arrow thundering. It's all there. They kill off everyone. Molly survives barely. And it's just Medivh and Genji. But a devastating Dragon Arrow Sundering combo by BTG.
Sorry, man. I just get really excited when I see that stuff come through. We got the Dragon Arrow as soon as people were trying to escape there, and it was after Force of Will and Portal were down, so those were basically hit-confirmed abilities, knowing that SPT were going to try to be pathing through their gate, and BTG, they hang on, and they take the first Immortal for themselves here. You know, the Hanzo value really showing up during the later stages of this game. That Dragon Arrow was beautiful.
We could be right now seeing our HGC China 4-time champions getting 3-0'd in the playoffs into 4th place. They might be moved into 4th place here as we see the Immortal coming down with half shield. APOC for zoning more than anything, just buying themselves some time as we start to see the Immortal pushing in.
The APOC usage there was
questionable. It's good for scouting. At least they know where the enemies are, at least.
That's true. That is very true. Everybody represented there, but they have the Medivh, someone who can do something very similar if you just float over that area. But now BTG pushing in, trying to get this first keep of the game. Misaka looking for a combination, but he's very, very weak. Has to take this portal back.
Portal's good. Portal is very good. Leyline and Massive Shove, they've completely split the team. This could be what they need. Genji trying to find the target. Can't do so. The Immortal is through the keep with still all its health left. Last Rites doesn't land. Good deflect by Melody C. They're keeping themselves alive for the moment as the shield on the core starts to go down. Good barrel roll. Soap once again. Diablo into the backline. Melody C. Once again, another deflect holding on to this Dragon Blade. Another massive shove. Sundering Misaka's the target. Portal's out again. The core is going down, but Thrall has fought. Melody C getting dropped. But they need to do something. The good mosh pit. That's it. They've won the game. BTG with that delay mosh pit. Take down the core. And they will move on to the games tomorrow to play against the One.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3-0 victory for BTG this evening or this morning, wherever you are. They were exciting games. Holy cow, BTG holding on to that one. And when I say holy cow, I literally mean it. ETC had a very difficult time during that game, but ends up finding those kills, or ends up finding, it looked like he had a very obvious mentality shift, you know, like, and I was talking about it, you know, just rips the mosh pit, gets zero value out of it, but at least he tried. And that's really all that BTG needed to do. They needed to sunder. They needed a mosh pit. They needed to actually force something when those portals came out, because SPT, they were portaling and then they were getting everything they wanted. Misaka was just able to completely body the members of BTG wherever he wanted. And as soon as they actually started challenging the pick potential from the Diablo is when they really started seeing some success in that game. And BTG, with what I would say was the lesser draft there, giving over the Medivh, giving over Stukov and Diablo, huge picks for SPT, end up taking the game. What an impressive performance by them this evening.
Absolutely insane. And with that, SPT are seed 4 of HGC China this season. No matter what, they are in 4th place. But BTG, they are now one step closer to going to the mid-season brawl, along with Challenge, Tempo Storm, KSV, Dig, and Fnatic. There is so much potential for them now.
Yep. Tomorrow will be a really, really big day for China for sure, because, you know, the team that ends up getting that number 2 gets to go to mid-season brawl. What are your like? Which team do you expect to come out of this as number 2? I know today was a little bit of a, you know, maybe not exactly what was expected, but still, like, what are your thoughts?
It's gonna be, honestly, I'm so hyped for tomorrow after seeing how good BTG are playing, because they also had a little bit of a slump partway through the season. They looked so good. The One, however, they have been looking crazy good all season, and they still have their surprise drafts. They still have the Genji Uther. They still have the Illidan drafts that they are very comfortable playing. It's scary. It's hard to deal with. And BTG, they're going to have their work cut out for them to try and take it. If I had to guess now, after watching today, this is the best I've seen BTG play ever. I think if there's any time they would be able to take down the One and reclaim that number 2 in China spot, or number 3, it should be number 3, but this would be number 2 in spot in China, it's got to be now.
Well, tomorrow we'll play host to those exciting results. And there we go. We just saw the statistics breakdown of those games. And, you know, I'll just be completely open and transparent. So, Tetcher, now that we've finished all the games, do we stick through the analysis? Do we call it an evening? What's the play here?
I think the analysis in best of 5, it's already hard enough to dub it to the best of 2. You saw how long that went. Yeah. I think we will be forgiven by the chat to call this a day maybe leave them with the analysis for a bit, or give them the option to watch it. Either way, it's going to be quiet. It's going to be silent. So excellent. I say I'm going to take the hit here and say I think we should wuss out and let the analysis go silent.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us this evening or this morning. As I said, I'm not sure where you're at, but thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And we will see you guys again tomorrow. Same time, same place. My name is Kala and I'm joined by Tetcher. Tetcher, any shout outs?
Shout out to you, man. Thank you for covering for Kendrick while he's in Japan. First time casting together. Had a wonderful time. You really brought it.
I absolutely had a pleasure casting with you as well. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, everyone. Twitch chat for being here and hanging out, and for letting me replace your beloved Kendrick. I know I'm not exactly the same, but it's something a little bit different, and I hope you enjoyed having me. I will be here again tomorrow. I can't wait to join you guys. So we'll see you then.